I'd like to welcome y'all back to another episode of Beyond the Fear podcast, a place where y'all come for motivation, inspiration, uplifting, and overall positive message. I'm your host, DJ. And today's episode, I want to talk about the importance of slowing down. Um, you got to excuse me if my voice is sounds a little different. I was sick last week, and that was the first week of me not recording an episode for the podcast, like at all. So yeah, it kind of threw me off. I didn't go to the gym for like 3 or 4 days last week, and that was throwing me off too. It made me feel weird not going to the gym, but it also gave me time to think about things and reflect. And it's so important to slow down. I think that I was so busy or so in my busy in my head or trying to rush and get back to the gym or get back to the podcast or get back to work that I was just I was making things worse than what they had to be, and I was prolonging, everything that I was going through instead of sitting down, taking the medicine I needed to take, um eating the right things, drinking the right things to try to help me, get all the mucus and stuff out. I was trying to do things like how I normally would when I wasn't sick. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get back to my daily thing, and I wasn't taking the time to give my body the rest that it needs. My body was letting me know, hey, something ain't right, something feels off, something's wrong. We need to take care of this. We need to address it. But because I'm just trying to be on goal mode and I'm trying to, make sure that I'm doing that I'm in the gym and that I'm taking care of this, trying to record this and everything like that, I wasn't doing what I needed to be doing to take care of my body. And so it just kind of got me to thinking, when I was kind of forced to sit down, call out, because my body just was like, nah, I can't do it. I'm literally, I know one morning I was struggling to get out of bed. It was like my head was hurting. Um, it was just a tough time getting out of bed. And so it was like, I just realized, sometimes we need to slow down. We want this instant, and I get it because in the world that we live in now, it's like everything is instant. We can open up our phone and be connected to the world literally through the internet. So everything is like a right now thing. Everything's happening, so fast. So it's hard to not want instant gratification. It's so hard not to expect things to happen right then and there, but that isn't always life. There's going to be times where you gotta work hard for a very long time to see results, So, like I said, I was just sitting down and I was just thinking, like, man, I need to slow down. It's so important to slow down. I know how we can normalize living life at 100 miles per hour, and it isn't until something happens, an injury, illness, God forbid, a death in the family, something kind of shocks you out of your routine or shocks you out of your rhythm, and you realize, man, all this time has gone by, without me even realizing it, because we get stuck in that machine, we'll get stuck in that cycle of whatever it is that we're doing. And that's taking up so much of our time, so much of our attention, that we don't know how to slow down and appreciate how far we've gotten, or slow down to give our bodies time to rest, or time to catch up to what's going on. Slowing down can help so many different things. And sometimes we're not where we think we should be, and sometimes we got to slow down on our expectations. Sometimes we have to realize that, hey, at this moment in my life, this period in my life, this time in my life, this season in my life, this might be the time for me. Instead of trying to go off and build something new, I need to go back, or I need to stand where I am and repair the things, repair the building that I'm in, repair the situations that I have right now, repair everything that I have going on with me and the people around me right now, instead of always what's the new thing, what's the next thing. Sometimes we need to sit, slow down, and repair things that we're dealing with now, because how many of us have relationships, friendships, partnerships that are kind of rocky. And because we don't want to deal with the headache of addressing it, or deal with the headache of fixing it, repairing it, we go straight to the next thing, just ignoring it and allowing it to to fester in this bad situation that, yes, it may take some time, and yes, it may be uncomfortable having certain conversations, but they're conversations that need to be had. They're conversations that you need to fix things, to repair things. I don't. I think that it's very rare that things will work themselves out without you putting any effort into trying to help work things out. So don't always look at that slowdown period as a period of doing nothing. This may be the time to look at everything that you're doing and figuring out where you can adjust, where you can get better, what needs to be repaired, what needs to be let go of, because it's not even worth repairing, or there's nothing good being brought in from repairing this, or from even having this still attached. You know what I'm saying? There's so many things that you can look at and adjust and reassess with the slowdown. Stop looking at, or don't look at it as a dead period or a period of nothingness. Like, there are so many things that you could be doing once you slow down. There's so many things that you can reassess. There's so many things that you may need to repurpose, realign yourself, or realign the people that you're working with or surrounding yourself with, because maybe you have them in the wrong positions, or maybe you're expecting too much, or maybe you're not expecting enough. Maybe they can be doing more. There's so many things that so many things that you can be checking and reassessing in this slowdown. But because it's always go, 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 it's always, we got to be doing the next thing. We got to be first. We got to be, the next one to go, and all of this stuff. And sometimes we miss those small things. We miss those little things. We miss those things that matter most, because we're not taking the time to scan every single thing around us and make sure everything is good. And I get it, because we don't always have the time, and I understand that. But sometimes you have to make time for those little things, even if it's, you know, taking your significant other out, doing something with the kids, or just appreciating your employees or your partners, whatever the case may be. Those little things, we always have to take time out and find time to take time to make time, to make sure everything is aligned. Because one thing that I know is how they say you're only as strong as your weakest link. You're only going to go but so far by yourself. You need your team. You need your support system. You need the people around you. And so you got to take time to take care of them, and make sure that those relationships, make sure that those bonds, make sure that those things are where they need to be. So that way, when it's time to rev back up, you can just focus on what you need to focus on, and you can trust that everybody else is doing what they need to be doing. So take that time to slow down and check on your people. Check on yourself too, your mental health, because I know that it can be go, go, go all the time, and you're not paying attention to what you got going. And it's so easy to lose yourself in the process, or at least a piece of yourself in the process, or maybe even all of you in the process of success and failures, of the numbers, of the margins, and the percentages, and all of those things. It's so easy to get lost in those things, to where that's all you see, and you don't see anything or anyone else. So man, those slowdown periods are just important for yourself. It's important for the people around you. Take that time, man, for yourself, and like I say, for the people around you, just to strengthen those bonds and strengthen, your mental fortitude, strengthen just everything around you. Because again, as we all know, when the higher up you go, the more that's expected of you, the more taxing these things are going to become, whether it's physically or mentally, emotionally, whatever. It's not just going to tax you, it's going to be more taxing on the people around you, because you may demand more, because more is expected of you because of how high you've gone. So there's always going to be a new level of expectation for every new level that you elevate to. So you got to make sure that you and your team are ready for it, because what does it matter if you're ready for it, but the people around you that you are going to rely on to take care of the things that need to be taken care of when you're not around, because you're off doing what you're supposed to be doing, if they're not ready for it, or if they're not in the mental space for it, or if they don't, or if they got stuff that they're going through and they don't have the capacity to deal with these things. Like, it's so many intricate things that go into being successful. And I mean, and I'm not even talking about just business, I'm just talking about everyday life. Making sure that, your marriage is where it needs to be, make sure the kids are where they need to be, to make sure that your parents, in-laws, all of this stuff. Is so many things that go into making something work, no matter what it is: regular life, business, families, friendships, because we all have things going on in our personal lives. You know what I'm saying? It's not like when you go to sleep, everybody else goes to sleep. Whatever you're focused on, everybody else is focused on. You know what I'm saying? We don't all move like that. So everybody has their own personal issues, their own situations, their own things going on. And I think that it's so important to slow down, for everybody to slow down and to have these conversations with themselves, to have these conversations with the people around them about what's really going on. And you got to be honest, with yourself, and you got to be honest with the people around you about what's really going on, or about what you really need, what you're really feeling, what you're really going through, what are your expectations, just all of these things that you may be feeling. And I understand that it's so easy to just ignore those feelings, you know what I'm saying, or to not talk about them, or to brush them off. But I also know that whatever that problem is isn't going to go away by you not talking about it. The only thing that it's going to do is just continue to grow until it gets to the point to where now it's going to explode in your face. And now a situation can go bad because you didn't take the time to take care of it when you could have, when you knew that it was a serious problem, when you knew it was something that could potentially cause a problem, or could potentially halt some progress in what you're doing, or with someone around you, that it was going to create a problem at some point. And instead of addressing it, you just look past it, because you say, hey, I don't have time for this. I don't have time to have these conversations. I don't have time to deal with this. I don't have time for this and for that. And it's like, I understand that. I understand, because again, your focus is out there. But the problem is, again, we can't do everything by ourselves. So sometimes we have to make time to deal with the things that we need to deal with. So that way, the things that we're not focused on can be taken care of by the people that we're trusting to take care of them. So that way you can focus on what you need to focus on. But if you're not every now and then, if you're not taking time to assess where everybody is mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever, and making sure that you're putting out those fires here and there, then what? What happens when those 6, 7, 5 small fires start to link up? Because this is now affecting this, which then affects this, which then affects that over there. And so now all these fires have linked, and now they were small fires. And when you had a chance to maybe have a 30-minute conversation, an hour conversation, to start to fix these, small fires, but because you felt like, I just don't have the time to do this, now they become these huge fires. And now you're forced because something isn't being taken care of the way it needs to. And now that's slowing you down. And now you can't even focus on what's ahead of you or the next level or whatever, because you have to now start putting out this big fire, because it's no longer a small fire. It's no longer something that you can put on the back burner and say, hey, we'll get to it when we can. Now you have to deal with this. You have to now give this your undivided attention, because you realize now you can't do what you need to do because other people aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing because of whatever the situation may be. And so these are things that, and again, like I say, it's not just about big business deals. These are things that are happening. These are things that can be happening in your regular, everyday life, at work, with the family, with friends, whatever. These are situations that, we can't always let stuff brew because we feel like we don't want to deal with it, or because we don't have the time to deal with it. And sometimes you literally don't. I do understand that. I do understand that there are people who have kids, maybe working two jobs, two full-time jobs. So yes, there are times where you can't, you literally just don't have time to deal with it. But I think that even within those situations, I think that it's very important to find time, or to make time, you know what I'm saying, to deal with those things, to deal with whatever's going on, because brushing it under the rug or acting like it's not there, or just saying, oh well, it's something small and it's something minor, they'll get over it, or they'll deal with it, it'll blow over, it'll brush over. And sometimes, it does. Sometimes it is just like a one-off thing, an argument, and it doesn't come up again, it doesn't affect day-to-day stuff. Cool. In those cases, cool. But then there are times when I think that this is like most, I would say this is probably mostly what happens. Because nothing's done and nothing's resolved, now those feelings linger, that anger, that resentment, that frustration, that feeling of being disrespected, whatever those people who go through it are feeling, those feelings linger, and they stay there, and it's hard to get past that. It's hard to let that go, because there's no conversations, there's no resolutions coming. It's just arguments, and then we got to stop arguing, because for whatever reason, for the greater good of the family or the friendship group or whatever, or we just say, you know what, or they say, F this, we just split off. You know what I'm saying? And now, there are people, they just leave the friendship group, or they leave the business, or they leave whatever, and now that's a hole that, and it's something that could have been prevented if we would have just chosen to slow down for a second and take care of things. So I say all of that to bring it back to the importance of slowing down. And sometimes we get slowed down. Sometimes situations slow us down. So you know what I'm saying? So it's not gonna always be you deciding, hey, this is the perfect time to, whatever. Like with me and my sickness, you know what I'm saying? It was just like me being sick. It slowed me down for sure. It definitely put me in a situation where it's like, okay, I gotta sit down. Like I can't. It hurts. My body aches. I got chills. I'm a very warm blooded person. I get hot very easily. So for me to get chills out of nowhere to where I'm cold, I know something up. And so the moment I felt them chills, it's like, yeah, my body was like, yeah, we not. It's time to go sit down. Because I know my body well enough to know that I don't get chills out of nowhere, especially if it's not like wintertime. And I live in the South, so even our winters really aren't crazy like that. So for me, out of nowhere to have these chills to where I feel like I need to cover up, oh yeah, something up. My body telling me something. But even with that, even in knowing that, I still was trying to do regular everyday things. And it's like my body was just like, okay, not a problem. Go do what you do. And then literally that next morning, it was like, nah, yeah, I can I it's going the energy that it's gonna take for me to get up and let's just say go to the gym that morning, it wouldn't have been worth it. The energy to get up, do what I need to do to get ready, and to try to get in the car, I probably that's energy that could have just been put in. That's energy that was just wasted because I could have just went back to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Did what I needed to do as far as calling out and then going back to sleep. But just being hard headed and thinking that you're indestructible, thinking that I'm indestructible, thinking that I'm Superman and that I can handle it all and deal with it all and work through everything and it's not going to bother me. I'm stronger than XYZ. I'm stronger than, whatever it is that my body's trying to tell me. And yeah, you hit those brick walls enough, you start to realize, okay, maybe I need to do something different. And that's what I felt that morning. It was just like, that was my brick wall, just hitting it enough times. And it was just like, you know what? I knew when I got the chills or whatever that I should have done something different. I should have just went in, you know, tea, soup, some ginger shots, things that I normally do to take care of, when I get those, when I just get that sick, achy feeling. But, just thinking, oh, it ain't nothing. It's just a little tingle in my throat, da 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 da. And yeah, I had to sit down. I had to slow down, but I do appreciate it because it just showed me the importance of it. And it also showed me because I was talking to some people, I was talking to a few friends and stuff while I was sick, and it just showed me how important it is for all of us to do that. It was important how important it is for all of us to sometimes take a step back because we get so caught up in life. We get so caught up in dealing with things, the good and the bad, especially the bad. We get so caught up in them that we don't take the time to appreciate where we are, or we don't take the time to appreciate how far we've come. It's so easy to lose that plot. It's so easy to lose that idea of I started way over there and now I'm here. But because here doesn't look the way we expect it here to look, we don't always take time to look back and appreciate how far we've come. Because when you don't have a job and when you don't have a car and you pray for a job and you pray for a car and that job and that car isn't exactly what you wanted it to be, or it isn't doing for you what you thought it was going to do, you don't appreciate it. But sometimes you have to look back to where you were at a time when it was like this. I remember when I was praying for this job. I remember when I was begging God for this job. I remember when I was going to interviews, pretty much begging for a job. I have a job now. It may not be my dream job, but it is a job. This may not be my dream car, but it gets me to and from work every single day or to the grocery store, wherever I need to go. It gets me there every single day. And sometimes we got to slow down to appreciate, to remember to appreciate those things. Like, granted, life may not look the way you want it to look, or it may not look the way you expected it to look, but it's better than where you were because you can pay your bills now, because you can afford food, you can afford rent, you can afford groceries. Yes, you may deal with a lot at work. And yes, your car may frustrate you at times, whatever the case may be, but you're doing okay. You're doing well. You may even be doing great and just not even realize it because you're trying to compare where your life is to your expectations or where your life is to where someone else's life is. And the problem with that is, as far as the other person, you don't know what that person's had to go through to get to where they are. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what they've had to deal with, what they've been through, what they had to survive, what they had to work through, how hard they've had to work, you know what I'm saying, to get to where they are. So instead of focusing on that, just appreciate where you are. And I do understand, because we're all human, we all have expectations, and we have to battle with those expectations, myself included, because I was one of those people who were begging, who were begging God for a job. I have a job now. I've had this job for going on 2 years now. And some things happened recently in that job where I no longer like this job. So there are times when I have to take a step back and remind myself that this job has helped me pay off my car. This job has helped put me in a position to where I can do the things that I want to do financially. This job has put me in a position where I'm not stressed about things from a financial standpoint, from paying for things. When I just had to go get a new battery for my car, and I was not stressed about how am I going to afford to pay for this battery, or and plus the way my battery is set up, I had to go to the dealership. You know, I went to two different places, and they were three different places, and they all told me the same thing: we can't touch this battery because a part of your computer is on top of the battery. And so, yeah, so it was a lot. It was just way more stressful than I thought it was going to have to be, getting a battery. I'm thinking I just go in the store. Okay, I need a battery. They switch it out, whatever. But it was never about money. My stress was never about am I going to be able to afford this? You know, but this job has allowed me to be able to have my trainer for as long as I've had her, you know. And so there are a lot of things that I am thankful for with this job. This job has done a lot for me, and just because I'm in a space now where I no longer enjoy certain things about the job, I try my best not to forget about how good this job has been to me, and the blessings that this job has provided me with, or the great things that this job has provided me with. And so part of it, having that realization, is also me slowing down and not allowing my anger and my frustration towards certain things about this job to now put me in a space to where I don't appreciate the job as a whole. I don't appreciate the good that has come from this job, the good things that this job has done for my life. And but that requires taking time to just pause and say, there are things, being honest with myself, there are things about my job that I cannot stand. There are things about this job that I just do not like at all. But I'm not allowing that to cloud my judgment to where it's like I don't like the job at all, and I'm going to stop going to the job, and I don't appreciate this job because this job has done nothing for me. Forget this job. I'm not allowing it to get to that point, because I'm taking time to pause and acknowledge that it's not the job, it's just certain things and certain people that I don't care for. But even with that being said, there are still some good things, some great things that have come from this job. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to now, just because I don't like certain things or certain people, I don't just throw this job away. I don't just give up on this job. I don't just give up on what this job has done for me now. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean I'm not also not looking for answers to help me, in the standpoint of, just trying to find something that I do enjoy doing every day. But until then, I'm getting up and I'm going to work, and I'm going to be thankful and appreciative of this job, because this job has put me in places that I remember just 2 years ago, or over 2 years ago, I was begging for. I was begging, I was pleading, I was praying for, to be able to pay off my car. So that way, that can be one less thing that I have to worry about paying. I don't have to worry about people coming to take my car in the middle of the night. I don't have to stress about that. I remember when that was stressing me to the point to where I needed to go to the hospital. I remember having anxiety about somebody taking my car, and this job took that fear away because I was able to pay my car off. So again, there are so many things that I am thankful for this job for, that this job has done for me, and I will be appreciative. But I also had to realize that I had to take time to pause to get to that point to where I can be appreciative and I can remember the good things and I can remember the positive things that have come from this. And I can remember where I was when I was before I had this job to where I am now, two total mental places. You know what I'm saying? And this job helped stabilize a lot of that. So I say all that to say sometimes we need to slow down. And I understand because life can hit you hard and it can be fast and it can come, it's life's going to come at you. But it's also just as important to take that time to be appreciative of where you are. Appreciate your journey. Appreciate how this hard journey that you've gone through to get to where you are now. Appreciate the hard work that you've put in to get to where you now are now. Appreciate the time, energy, effort that you've put in and that other people have put in to help you get to where you are now. It's so important to slow down and be appreciative of the things and the people around you. Also to reassess the things and the people around you and the environments that you choose to be in. So take that time to slow down and figure things out. But that's it for today's episode. I want to thank everybody for listening on every platform that y'all are listening on. And I want to thank everybody on YouTube. Please continue to watch, like, comment, share, and subscribe. And until the next time I see y'all, man, y'all stay blessed.